Hi, hello. You're here again at Carmela Soul Academy. That's awesome. Thank you for being here. Ooh, the energies are good today. I'm feeling great. I spent a lot of time this morning having fun, dancing, singing, just really having fun with adorning myself and just having a good time. So I'm really happy about that. I'm really happy to be in that type of way and in that type of energy. Ooh. Let's see, there was something that I wanted to share today, and it's like a complete liftedness from my heart, which is a really, really beautiful thing. I feel super inclined to just leave the message at being yourself, but not only yourself, but honoring, really, 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 really getting in there and honoring your own self, your own beingness. And I say this a lot, and it's necessary to say, because as human beings we have that tendency to, we have that tendency to do things that make us feel separate from ourselves. You know what I mean? A lot of things, people pleasing, compromising for other things, having to ration your joy, having to ration your space, having to ration. And I feel as though the more we are able to accept and admit what it is that we want in our life and the person that we want to be, the easier it just gets. For me, I'm one of those people who, I'm all for compassion, I'm all for being kind, but what I'm not for is, that need or that desire to be kind overriding my boundaries and overriding, places in which I am not going to accept that type of behavior from myself or from someone else. Do you know what I mean? Ooh, you hear that neck crack? That was good. You know what I mean? So it's just when I say be yourself, for me, it goes deeper than just one thing. It's a multitude of things, allowing myself to show up in that moment how I need to show up, and we go into our heads and we create these, not even create, but, we do create, but we experience these multiple realities in which, let's say if the scenario played out this way, let's say if the scenario played out that way, and when we do that, we go into this space of trying to align our energy with the one that feels most pleasant to us, and sometimes the one that feels the most pleasant is the one where you're standing up to somebody and releasing all your rage and giving them the what for, you know what I mean? And sometimes the one that feels the most aligned is, where you take a back seat and you breathe and you just relax into it. It just varies, or it just varies, but it's beautiful that we have that ability to go into ourselves and create all these different experiences and experience them energetically before we do physically. And I feel like that's a really, really important point to hone in on and really sit with, and something I want to be sitting with today. It is time for us to take away our grips on humanity or reality and really, really understand the importance of energy and the importance of energetics. So there is this channeler that I love. His name is Daniel Scranton. He channels the Arcturian Council, and he did he did a channeling the other day that was beautiful, and it was basically holiday times are difficult a lot of the time because you are forced out of some false sense of obligation to show up physically in spaces in which you don't feel safe, in spaces in which your energy doesn't feel aligned. You know what I mean? And he well, he and the Arcturian Council were outlining how important it is to do what you enjoy and feel free to just send energy energetically. And I was practicing that over this Thanksgiving's weekend, and that felt so raw and beautiful and emotional to me, because like I was sending energy to people, like so much love. It was like an outpouring, even people who I feel like we mirror each other in ways that are challenging for me. So it was really nice to sit down and send energy and feel the love without feeling like I need to show up there physically, like my physical body didn't need to be there in order for me to do that, in order for me to touch that spot in consciousness. And it's just an overall reminder that we are consciousness, we are energy, and we are constantly interacting with energies all over the place. And our physical body doesn't need to show up in certain spaces in order for that need to be fulfilled, if that makes sense, or that, you know what I mean, or for that spot to be filled or whatever. We just think that because our physical body takes up a lot of space, it takes up a large precedence or residence. And it's really, really important for me. Like, the more I'm sitting with it, the more that I'm realizing how I personally put myself in scenarios in which I'm like, I have to do this because I'm obligated to do this because I have to show up as a person, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, understanding that I am powerful enough to be where I am in this moment and still send energy to someone, you know, across the way, and still receive the energy from them across the way is a beautiful thing. It's the same thing like when you are receiving a tarot reading online. You know, you're sitting with that person, but there's still a connection being had. There's still an exchange of energy, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So I'm really, really rooting for all of us right now to really understand the importance of our energy and the way that we touch all of consciousness constantly. You know, that is part of the reason why we are able to go into our mind or mental space, create these scenarios and experience them emotionally, because that's movement of energy. It's a really, really beautiful thing to witness. So we are going into a time right now in which we are removing ourselves out of scenarios that are extremely misaligned, because we have a desire to prove ourselves to other beings. And this is something that I was working with my guides with yesterday, like this proving. And we're getting to a point where we don't have to prove anymore. We get to receive, we get to relish, we get to come into contact with harmonious relationships, we get to believe in them, we get to believe that it can work out, we get to believe in hope, we get to feel these things, you know what I mean? And human beings put themselves in these type of scenarios to prove that they can work out of them. That's exactly why the Magician is number one in the tarot suit of the major arcana and not the Fool. Do you see what I'm saying? So it is to understand that we have created these situations for our own growth. And it is also important to understand that we are also going to, when you reach a certain level of understanding, you're going to have a desire to create situations in your life that feel graceful, that feel merciful, that feel protective, that feel safe, that feel delicious and pleasurable. It's just a natural thing. It's just a natural occurrence. It's something naturally that you're going to be drawn to. So it's really, really, really important for us all. And when I say that, please understand that I'm talking to myself. And if you resonate, you resonate. And I love that. But it's super, super important that we all understand that. Why would it continue like this forever? You know? And that is the importance of the Aquarian age that we're in right now. You know, the awakening to the time of the Aquarius is taking what we consider normal, conventional, this is how life is supposed to be, and flipping it on its head and being like, actually, this whole time, what you've been experiencing as normal is actually an illusion of such. And truly, there's an infinite amount of energy and there's an infinite amount of possibility out there in which you have the potential to create with. That is the whole purpose of the starting phases of the Aquarian age, of Saturn and Jupiter being in Aquarius, of, like all these things that are happening. It's such a grander scheme to it all, and we're noticing, we're seeing it, and we're responding to it. But the place in which you have to start is honoring your own self, being who you are, honoring your no, honoring your yes, and actually feeling that, and actually working with it, and actually saying, actually, I can have more than this. There's an abundance in this life. There's an abundance in this world. I can have more than this. I can have more than self-hate. I can have more than just preferences. I can actually have boundaries that are kept and held, and I can have requests that are actually responded to in kind. We can all have this. We all have the gifts. That's why there are some people who enjoy doing this, and there are some people who enjoy doing that. We can all support each other in that way, and that is what we're seeing, and how we're seeing the world transform into unity consciousness. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all for. Unity consciousness, coming into divine union with your fullest self, honoring your fullest self. That's what you're experiencing. That's what you're healing. And then having that be reflected on the outside, in the physical world, in the material world. Because right now we can see what our reflections are, right? We can see the exposure, we can see the crumbling, we can see the dismantling. That same dismantling that is happening on a large societal scale is happening to us too. It's something I will always say, we're all doing the same thing. It may look different, but we're all working with the same energies. Because we're community. We are a united consciousness. We are one thing broken down into many, many little meatlets. You know what I mean? That's what we are. So enjoy yourself. Be yourself. Honor yourself. Honor your insights. Honor your creativity. Honor who you are. Everyone else is going to have their own opinions. And it's going to be very easy to find exploits in those opinions, loopholes, places in which you agree, places in which you disagree, contradictions, hypocrisy, like all that type of stuff. All that is just normal societal mind stuff, because we don't actually have like the full scope of what this bigger picture is as a human being. It's really, really hard to grasp that when you have all of these different conditions or things put onto your life that says you can't do this, you can't do that. You know what I mean? So the more you open up to yourself, the more you open up to the galaxy that is within you that wants to be expressed. And that is the best that you can do, and that's the best way you can show up and honor the world. It is literally by being you, and that's scary. Super, super scary, because there are going to be people who challenge you. There are going to be people who do this, and people who do that, and people who do this. But we do that all the time. It's normal for that to happen. That's a normal occurrence. You know, that's something that happens all the time under the illusion of us being separate. So, honor yourself today. Be okay with being you. Be okay with, wanting your needs to be met. Be okay with wanting better for yourself and humanity and your family and your friends. It's okay to want to heal and to want your reflection on the inside and the outside to coexist. That's okay. That's fine. And it's okay to allow life to move those elements around in order for you to feel that shift, So, I hope some of that made sense. Just rambling. Of course, feel free to pick it apart. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with who I am today. It feels good to be me. It feels good to be Carmilla. And I hope it feels good to be you too. So enjoy your day today. Don't worry so much. You're going to respond exactly the way you need to respond at all times. You're fine. You're loving. You're healthy. You're beautiful. You're amazing. Have fun. Love you so much. See you next time. Bye-bye.